I'm the returning officer for this MUSA election. So thank you so much for joining us for the debate session for the editors. So this is a session to encourage interaction and dialogue between you and the potential candidates. So whether you're here physically or online, just a few reminders. Let's keep this session professional and respectful and refrain from any overly sensitive topics or inappropriate issues. So before we get started, I would just like to introduce the candidates. So the editors this year, we have Romatus, Yuxian, and Samuel running for the editor's position. So with that, I think we can just get started with the opening statement from our candidates.
Hi everyone, I'm Giselle, official name Liu Yushen, and I'm running for the head of graphic design. As a current subcommittee member, I already understand our workflow and commitments, which will help me transition smoothly into the role. I've experience in working on my high school magazine, giving me practical understanding on the editorial process. I also created visual materials, event prompts, painted murals in my previous institution, and served as a publicity officer in past clubs, creating a strong foundation in designing. I also have 3 years experience as a tutor and front crew, where I have built strong teamwork, problem solving, flexibility, communication, and leadership skills.
Hi everyone, my name is Samuel Leven. You can call me Devan. I'm running for media head. Previously, I contributed in a Catholic Church magazine as the head of photo editor for 2 years, which had a quite similar job scope where I learned a lot about how a magazine works, how to manage a team, leadership, especially to cover every event for the magazine, and to delegate tasks. And also, I learned a bit of journalism writing. And right now, I am a subcom for Manga Media.
Hello everyone, my name is Ramatus Sania and I am running for the position of head of writers. My journey with writing began in high school where I was responsible for creating the weekly bulletin board, and it taught me the importance of consistency, clarity, and making information more engaging. I come in as someone who has always written with the student perspective in mind, so it reflects how what we see, what we feel, and what we go through. That's the experience I bring, and that's how I want to strengthen manga as a creative body while aligning with journalistic principle. So let me introduce our first manifesto. First, we aim to protect manga's creative identity. Our motto and main focus are ensuring that manga reflects the originality, truth, and imagination of students. We want to continue what our predecessors started with ensuring that manga remains a creative body. And with future initiatives, we want to make manga a platform where students can find themselves and learn and expand the purpose beyond publication.
Our second manifesto is collaboration across interdepartments. We realize that for now, the departments work mostly in isolated environments, but we don't think manga is one section or one person, so we aim to foster strong relationships with each other and blend our skills to create unified, innovative projects.
Our last manifesto is making students' voices heard. We want to open more channels for student contributions and give more space for them.
All right, thank you, candidates. With that, I think I would just want to clarify the outline for today's debate will be with opening statements, and after that we'll proceed with a structured debate where current and existing office bearers will be asking questions to the candidates. And to end the debate today, we'll be having the live Q&A with the audience, either online or physically. And then finally, the candidates will give their closing remarks. Okay, so with that, I'd like to hand it to the existing office bearers for the structured debate segment.
Hello. Hello. Okay. I would like to first touch on your second manifesto point on collaboration across departments. Collaborative projects in manga between departments are often extremely time and energy consuming. I think you guys are very well versed with this. Through navigating this, what are your plans on said unified and innovative projects for the purpose of collaboration across departments?
Okay, to answer a question, we plan to create internal projects that includes a simple project pipeline. Maybe we can do it once a sem or twice a sem. To make it manageable, we'll introduce mini cross-department projects each semester. Small team collaborations where each department will work together to create a more collaborative work. So for now, we have a lot of internal projects, but then mostly is dependent on like one department only, correct? So let's say we want to make these new internal projects. Let's say we're going to take Monsep as an example. This only includes media department, correct? So we realized that sometimes from other departments, we also have some initiatives or like passion in taking photos or making videos. So if we allow other departments to join Monsep also, they can actually pursue their passion. And maybe let's say they want to make a short film and that needs script writing. So this can actually allow the writers to do it. And for the design department, they can make the prompts also if they want. And if they are interested in taking videos or photo shoots, they can ask for the opinions from the current media subcoms to see if they're okay or not, and if they're okay on guiding them to let them be included in the filming process. Thank you.
Thanks for that response. Just one follow-up question. With the proposal of these, not new projects, existing projects, but absorbing different departments into these existing projects, right? Right. With this proposal, how are you intending on juggling these projects with the remaining collaborative projects that we already have? For example, Humans of Monash and Monj. First of all, do you have plans on continuing these initiatives? If not, let us know why. And second, what are your plans on ensuring a balanced workload?
Thank you for the questions. To answer your question about continuing the previous events or projects that are already initiated in this term, we would like to declare or mention that we will continue the project that already ongoing in these terms for next year's. And for the workload itself, we will do like time management, and also like we will utilize the subcom tracker and do a lot of like check-ins for the subcom. So in that sense, we can track every progress and make sure that every subcom do their stuff, do their workload accordingly without making them feel stressed or too many projects in one subcom.
Just to add on, because we tend to make a change in some of the projects, right? So this also involves the commitments of the subcoms. So we would try, before we actually initiate any projects, we will try to actually ask for the opinion first, whether they think it's feasible for them to uphold the improved or changed project, so that by that we can know that whether they really are interested in this project. So normally if someone is interested in something, they would actually put more effort and put more time into it. And then one more thing is that we need to build a strong relationship with the subcoms. Like I think you guys did a very good job on that. So because if we have a strong relationship with the subcoms, they can actually be comfortable enough to open up their opinions, and this would actually build transparency among the department. Thank you.
Just a little bit follow-up or addition. About this cross-department project, it is not compulsory for every subcom because we still need to prioritize their main roles. For example, in media, we have to prioritize our own job scope first. But then, if you already, let's say you already finished your main task, now we will give them chances to do other projects. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for answering that. So I'll be asking you the second question. So as you guys know, admin head admins act as the glue that holds manga together, ensuring that our ensuring our effective operations. So with your current lack of the front-running member for admin head, how do you plan to fill in this gap?
Okay, to answer the question, first of all, admin is important, especially since Monga is an independent body. So that's why we put a plan in place. Firstly, we'll have an interim admin to ensure nothing is left unmanaged. And in the meantime, the three of us are going to committed to be sharing those responsibilities so the workflow is like not lacking. And how is this effective is that admin task really doesn't exist in isolation. So we're sharing it within like design, writer, and media department. And this way, instead of admin being a single person's job, it can become part of like Mongo's culture of transparency and our first step in implementing one of our manifesto, which is collaboration within departments. So yes, the gap is very stretchy, but like our strength to anticipate that problem, we're ready to manage it without like compromising Monga's quality and independence.
Okay, so I understand that, but do you guys have any like background you guys know about like admin? So like, because as you guys know, both of you guys are subcoms of different departments, and one of you guys are from are not a part of Manga. So are you guys like familiar of what you guys can do and cannot do as admin?
To answer your question, for me, from my self-introduction, I did mention that I have some experience in being a publicity officer. So that actually includes managing the social media account. So as I know, we need to have a lot of approvals to post something or like to film something, correct? Like the EMS, Sarah, and all those stuff. So in this term, I do have experience in managing the social media account. And I also have some background in knowledge of paperwork, like Sarah, EMS, and I think having this basic knowledge can help me implement this into the job scope. And if I have something that I'm not clear with, we can also discuss with the interim and maybe the departments from other departments. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for answering that question. So right now we'll move on to the next question first. I think, Sunny, you mentioned in your first manifesto and your answer previously that you want to maintain Monga's identity as a creative body, as well as our independence in our journalism. But I want to have a clearer context on how do you plan to maintain Monga's identity as such, as a creative body and also an independent journalistic body within MUSA. More specifically, how do you plan to negotiate between the pressures from higher ups, such as the EXCOs within MUSA or other parties with other clubs as well, while still maintaining and upholding journalistic integrity and neutrality within Monga?
Thank you for that question. I'm aware, I think we are all aware that Monga is essentially a journalistic body, but since recent years, it's developed more into a creative side. So one thing that we hold on to is Monga's journalistic integrity way of representation. So what I mean by that is, even though it's like grown into a more creative body, we try to maintain a certain like reports or student perspective, like how we contextualize them and making sure that what we write or how we interact with like clubs and other things a bit more transparent on how our process is. So instead of like how to say, instead of like heavy in my job scope, like heavy articles that maybe not like reach any students, we try to make it as engaging in a way. So I think we want manga to kind of balance integrity as a journalism body, but also have an engaging and with more innovation as a creative body. So we're trying to evolve and cater students' lifestyle, but also moving forward, we want to kind of approach them with new responsibility. So because we work under like clear guidelines and ensuring that sensitive issues are handled respectfully and factually with empathy also. So yes, we try to balance and stand by that.
Thank you for answering my question. I think to clarify a bit further, I just wanted to explore a little bit more about how you're going to navigate or negotiate between different pressures, especially political pressures or societal pressures, such as in certain publications that we've had within this year, there has been feedback or perhaps requests from certain parties to change certain parts of our publications to suit their way or their desires. How do you negotiate these requests and how do you plan to face them?
Your 30 seconds
yeah,
response time.
Okay. So we try to filter medias and make sure that like our journalism ethics again, like we don't touch on sensitive or taboos things outside Monash. So we try. Okay, so how are we going to negotiate with them is kind of filtering like try to figure out and actually agree on like one thing in a way that it still aligns with how manga does their publishing.
I'll try to elaborate what she said because our functioning body, the how is it, the role we take on is to be neutral, to not hold any sides, right? So give me a minute, sorry. To not hold any sides. So when they ask us to filter out or like change the way it is, I don't think we should do that because we should be as transparent as it is because we are for the students by the students. So I think the students should have the rights to know what is actually going on. And of course, if the things is touching sensitive topics, we will try to polish it in a way so that they won't feel attacked, like the readers won't feel attacked. So yeah, I think this is a way for us to remain transparency while also trying to prevent any criticism from either sides. Thank you.
All right. Now, with that said, I want to put this question towards specifically Davin, since you are in the media department. So, as a person who's running for the media head, are you planning to have new media centric initiatives or projects once you've been elected, especially with our new platform this year, which is YouTube, which was initiated this year?
Okay. Thank you for the questions. So to answer that question, currently my goal is to improve what is already existed. So we are looking at the social media we have, especially for media, which is Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram, of course. We will try to improve more because in my vision, that is what I'm trying to do for next year's term. So for new projects, I would say I'm going to discuss more on this when we got elected. But my current goal, my current vision is I will try to improve more on the existing project so it will appeal to the students. Thank you.
Okay, just to add on onto this, because you guys did mention that you guys are planning to have interdepartmental projects, right? So how do you plan to juggle like all of these internal projects, including media internal projects? Because we do have quite a few, along with the new interdepartmental projects, because they're all for different purposes, and the intention behind producing content for all of them is different.
Okay. Um, to answer your questions, um, I will try to make sure that every Samcom or every member would have like the same amount of the tasks that they can handle. So to ensure that nobody is taking too many projects as because of we are all uni students, so we have to prioritize our academic also. So I will try to manage the time and schedules accordingly, especially depending on the total of the member or manpower that I will have in my term. Thank you.
I will pass it on to Jason first.
Okay, sure. Thank you for your answer, David. So now I would like to direct my question towards Giselle specifically. So based on my current knowledge, you mainly use Canva for your designs, correct? So with Canva's existing software limitations, how do you plan to uphold Monga's design standards?
Okay, to answer your question, as the initiative of me running for head of graphic design, I think for now, me using mainly Canva is not professional enough as a head. So to be honest, I do not have a strong background in technical skills software. So I plan to learn more about this during my SEM break so that I can increase my professionalism in this field. But I don't think this would be a very strong. It would be a very difficult task for me because, as mentioned, I have a very strong background in designing. And also, I didn't mention this in my introduction, but I also have 6 years. I have trained in the established art center for 6 years. So my concept in designing and actually expressing creativity, I think it's good enough. So the problem I have now is to know how to use the functions of the professional apps. So with the time I have for the SEM break and also for the upcoming years, I will definitely improve along the way. Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay, thanks, Giselle. My next question is directed to Sunny. This would be specifically related to your role as the head of writing. Um, I have two questions. First, okay, I'll talk about the first question first. We've talked about engaging, or your idea of engaging with the students by writing articles that are captivating, essentially. Considering that the nature of event coverage articles forces writers to kind of conform to a certain way of writing due to an assumed difficulty of injecting creative ideas, what measures do you plan on implementing and enforcing towards your writers to ensure that event coverage articles are captivating and interesting to read?
Thank you for the question. To make Monga's writing a bit more captivating, I'll definitely experiment with formats. So, for example, like short reflection, creative essay, and like visually driven articles that we can collaborate with the design team. So it helps kind of for the subcom. It helps them to kind of experiment and express themselves through writing, and also figuring out how they want their articles to be designed. So when content is like a bit more visually attractive, I think people feel more personally attracted to read it, so it connects deeply more with the student.
Okay, great. Just one follow-up question based on that. Just to clarify, my question was related to event coverage articles specifically. So I think creative essays and visually captivating writing are great ideas, which I guess can potentially be amalgamated into constructing event coverage articles. But how would you do that specifically? Because in terms of visually captivating articles, what does that necessarily entail in regards to event coverages?
I think what I mean by like having a more visually visually captivating article is like I think essentially we send like subcoms to an event so then they can cover and figure out how what's the vibe and what they think, not like the whole situation and the vibe, and then create a more curated article based on the event coverage. So I think how I would kind of upgrade that is try to kind of work through, maybe experiment more on how it can be posted in a more like captivating way, if that makes sense. Like through, for example, like for now, like an article is like post in the website, in Monga's website. So how maybe to kind of have a more visually written poster so that they can go through the website and get a read out of the article. So yeah, a more like broad engagement towards like the article itself. So yeah.
Okay, great. Thanks for that response.
Sorry, Sunny, to follow up on that response, thank you for your response. But hearing that, I do acknowledge and I do like that idea. I think that is really fresh and I think it'll be really fun to do. But I am concerned on how you plan to implement that, especially with your new initiatives for interdepartmental projects, as well as looping in design for your written articles as well. Let's not forget as well that if you want to post these new interactive ways, interactive UI UX into the website or into the our Instagram pages, that also requires technical knowledge and the coding side. Do any of you have that skill set, or how do you plan to actually implement those ideas?
to answer your question, Jason. To be honest, we don't have those kind of skill set, especially in coding. Maybe on that side, we will try to find manpower that can help us to develop more on that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Just reverting back to my line of questioning to Sunny. Just one more question on your role of writing head. We've touched on transparency and how you would navigate transparent writing in manga. We've talked about that briefly. You've also talked about how you would want to polish sensitive topics and avoid certain taboo topics to be written in articles. Writing about concepts that potentially deviates away from the Malaysian social and cultural norms seems to be quite inevitable. As a writer in manga, at least in my experience, and even just my experience being a student in Monash, we have EDI practices. So pride is a really big thing in Monash, and that's very clearly goes against the cultural and social norms of Malaysia. How do you navigate writing about these potentially controversial themes while also not jeopardizing manga's strong ideals of inclusivity, diversity, and equity?
Thank you for that question. I want to restate what you say. So Monga operates under Monash University values and DEI, which is diversity, inclusivity, and yeah. So while we try to remain aware of Malaysia's context, I think we can still write about social perspective, but through creative and reflective storytelling rather than like a direct confrontation in writing. So, for example, instead of like critiquing on maybe like cultural norms, we might publish like a more student reflection or a fictionalized piece that explore the themes indirectly but meaningfully. So it allows expression without provocation, like which create like more thoughtful writing instead of a controversial writing. So yeah, it's like basically our goal is to spark a conversation within writing, and that can help remain a captivating and more credible and responsible site for Monash students.
All right, so I will divert this back to Davin, because just now I did ask you a question and then I decided to ask you another one. So hello again. So as someone who has been extremely active in manga media, as a potential future media head, this year we had a lot of video related projects, right? So what are your plans on future media production in manga? Will it be more video focus based, or will it be more photography focus based? What are your plans? And what is the way that you balance between videography and photography?
To answer that question, next year's manga, I'm trying to balance everything, and of course, it depends on the manpower that we have, because the sum or total of the media subcom that do videography or photography is quite a big difference lah. To solve those kinds of problems, I think that as of my observation, this year we already created like a short film, which I feel it's already quite semi-professional, I would say. So then, for next year, maybe I would implement the way or the technique that we already did for the short film. So for video projects, maybe we can create a more clear timeline and also a clear structure for the crew, for the crew or for the yeah, for the subcom. And for photos project, yeah, so just to balance both from photo and video. Sorry, thank you.
That's okay. That's a good answer. Thank you so much, Devon. All right. So I think I will divert this question more towards, once again, Devon and Giselle, because both of you guys were in Monga this year throughout the whole year. So what have you learned from our term this year from your observation? What do you think you can do better than our term this year? Let's say if you get elected as Monga heads.
I will answer first. So from my observation, what can we try to do better for next year is to fix the timeline and schedule, because we for this year's, I feel like us as Monga, we got a lot of ambitious project, and I feel like it's it's a bit like difficult to skip. So I feel like for next year's manga, I will try to fix the timeline so that we can improve on the projects and the outcome for it.
Um, okay, for the graphic design department, what I observe is, although the manpower for this year is decent, it's okay, but then the struggle we have compiling with deadlines and also quality that actually aligns with the current SAM's team is a bit, how to say, it takes time, because sometimes the way the way we vision the designs is actually different from the team. Although we may think, oh, it's someone will say, but then it's actually not. So giving feedback needs time, and then changing a lot of stuff also takes time. So this will actually delay the production of the magazine and so on. So one thing is also, of course, maintaining the check-ins, like how are they doing? Are they actually okay with the task they're being delegated at? And also one thing that I want to implement is actually at the start of the semester itself, I would ask this, if I get elected, if I would ask the subcoms to actually create a mock template. So by making this mock template, first of all, they can actually roughly know how long they take to actually design something. So this actually helps them manage their time properly when in the upcoming weeks. Next thing is I can actually know what their vision is for the current SEM. So if it's not really aligning with the team, I can actually give them feedback earlier so they can actually have a better view of what it is actually. So after the current weeks, throughout the weeks, they can actually improve, and then they may take shorter time to actually complete it, since they already have a better vision of what the team is. And then they after them submitting the mock templates, I can actually have a overall brief overall of what they think of the team. So I can actually compile a guideline of what they do, what they should do, or what they should not do to actually stay in track of the current SAM's team. So I think this can actually improve the effectiveness of creating the teams, the designs, and for the magazine, and which I think that's a potential to actually prevent the delays in the magazine. Thank you.
Thank you for your answers. So this question is targeted towards your first manifesto. So what are your planned initiatives in implementing reflect originality, truth, and imagination in specific internal manga departments?
So, uh, how are we going to incorporate the reflex originality, truth, and imagination? Is I will tell the reason first, because we want to preserve the creative side alive, but at the same time we want to be more free, especially in terms of imagination and everything. We have a plan. We have a plan that we would like to explore more on the social media layout. So then we can still inform the audience about the truth, about what's happening, but we can make it more creative by in terms of the visual and the media itself lah. So that is how we are going to incorporate the originality, truth, and also the imagination for it. Thank you.
Just to clarify once more, what about the design and writing departments? Because in this case, the initiatives that you plan to implement in the media department is very much exclusive to the media department only. What are your initiatives for both of your respective departments?
So to create more spotlight, we want to create more spotlight for the writing and design department by combining media writing and also design in the post itself. So I'm going to take example from um, external media outlets. Maybe I would say, as an example, I can choose the Maple Media, if you guys know, from in Instagram. So basically, how are we going to create the post is to combine everything, like all three departments into one post. So let's say we have like an EC coverage. What we do this year is like we try to put a little caption in the first picture as the cover, right? We want to somewhat improve on that. So basically, maybe in easier words lah, we are going to put more captions on the photo itself. So let's say first slide is a photo, and then second slide we can put like the caption for the event coverages from the writing department, and also we can incorporate more design in the template for the EC for that post. Yeah, I hope that answers the questions. Thank you.
Okay. I think we've briefly have asked this question already, but I think we're not yet satisfied with the answer. Bear in mind, I assume that if you would want to implement this initiative for ECs, it would be consistent throughout the entire year, right? So every single event coverage that you receive and that you approve would have an amalgamation of writing, photos, and design. That seems very difficult to do and frankly quite unfeasible. With the workload that we have right now, even with the projects that have amalgamated all three departments together, it's extremely difficult in even releasing one episode of a certain project. How do you think you would do in terms of releasing perhaps, I don't know, approximately 30 event coverages in a year?
Okay, to answer your question, I do understand that if we want to comprehend everything together in one post for each event, it will be very hectic in a sense. So for my design part, I feel like I can request, or myself and together with the subcoms, we can create templates at the start of the year. So let's say, I don't know about the manpower, let's say we have 5 subcoms, including me 6. So we can do 1 or 2 templates each, and then we can rotately use these templates throughout the semester according to the theme. So this way, they do not need to create a new template for every event. And if we create a template for every event, it makes the social media layout very messy. So let's say if subcom A, he did a template, I will use it throughout week 1 to week 2. Week 3 to week 4, I'll use subcoms C's template. So it will look more coherent. And the only thing they need to do throughout the events is to insert the writing, the teaser writing, and also the image inside. So I think this can help decrease the workload of them and myself also.
Okay, thank you for your answer. I have one follow-up question to that. So you guys mentioned that you guys are going to put more captions to the photos, not on the first page only, right? So do you guys know, like, by doing that, you might decrease the quality or you might cover up some of the photo? So like mostly our photos there's a lot of things going on. So if you're going to put like captions on top of it, there might not be enough photos for you guys to use that won't cover up. So like the quality of the photos might degrade if you guys are gonna put captions on every photo or most of the photos. So how are you guys gonna carry on this proposal without compromising the quality?
To answer this, I'm going to mention that I've tried this kind of technique in my personal Instagram account. I would say for the layout itself, if we put like captions on the picture, I would say it won't going to decrease the quality for itself. It just needs needs a layouting for the photos, for the caption and the photo itself. So I would say this proposal won't gonna decrease the quality for the photo itself. Thank you.
I think for now, our view is that we were not gonna put the entire article in the post itself. We will still maintain what we did this year, where we have like a caption below, and then we can have a link to the full article. So for the things that we try to comprehend inside the post is like a teaser, not the entire article. So maybe the first page will be the cover and the title itself, but then second page onwards, it can have a little bit teaser of what the event is about, and then with the pictures together, as what Devon mentioned just now. So yeah, if they want to read the entire article, they still need to go through the article link within the caption below, so they can direct it into our website, and then they can read the complete article. Thank you.
Thank you for that response. I think right now my concern is for the design part. You did say that you are planning to have templates made at the early on in the year to have the social media page for the ECs still coherent throughout the semester, throughout both semesters. But considering that each event and therefore each event coverage is very, very different in their nature, how are your templates going to work with all of these different pictures and all of these different themes in these events? And how is writing or putting into those captions or teasers within the post itself also gonna work in the standardized templates? In my mind, I don't think that it would work all the time. I think that there will be a lot of adjustments that you have to make with your templates if you plan to do so. So how do you plan to do all of this with efficiency?
To answer your question, so for when I mentioned about making the template at the start of the year, the template itself doesn't have to be like a final template. It's like the base of the template. So whenever there's different kinds of pictures or to make it more coherent with the pictures or the writing, we can do adjustment by then, during the EC itself. And then for the writing part,
I think as what Giselle mentioned on the writing part, it's more of like a teaser. We're not really kind of jeopardizing the whole picture quality. So it's just more as like a heads up on what are we covering on and like the vibe itself.
Explain the whole situation and then ask them again on what they're going to approach this. Okay, we understand where you guys are coming from, but what we think is kind of not that feasible as is basically extra work because right now our ECs are a bit later as it is because like normally our due date is like one week or 1.5 week after their coverage. So this might need extra work and it will delay way more than it should be. So, and it's more extra work for all 3 departments. So how are you guys gonna combat this?
So I think to give you a bit more context, the one usually posting up the event coverages on our Instagram are the admin department. So when they want to post up these event coverages on our Instagram and they use a template, then they find out certain parts are not working well together. Then they have to revert back to design. Then if design finds out and adjusts, and then the next thing that happens might happen. The caption is not working well with the design. So they have to revert back to writing. This is a lot of like going back and forth between writing, design, and admin that will make the whole process very slow. How do you plan to combat this?
We will be granting an extension until 5:40, so a 20-minute extension.
Not at all. Give her more time with me. Then can you watch?
Your 30 seconds are up.
Okay, so to answer your questions, to be fair, for photos itself, let's take an example lah. Usually we for one event coverages, usually we have like 30 photos, more than 20 photos per person. But at the end, when we are posting at Instagram, we only take like 5 to 10 per person. So to combat this, we can try to, for photos, we can try to release first, like the first few photos or just the favorites first. Then the other can be posted on Facebook a bit later after the Instagram post. And for the design and the caption itself, I wouldn't say it's gonna be more work, because we can try to create a layout that would fit universally. So let's say for the caption itself in the photos, let's say we have like 20 photos, 20 slides. We can try to create like a layout or word limit for the caption itself, so it would fit for the post itself without compromising the deadline itself. Thank you. I hope that answers.
Okay, thank you for your answers. Okay, moving on. I'll ask this question. How would your team handle conflict in manga due to creative differences?
Okay. As a precaution, we are open to discuss and list everything, every opinion. Then we can check again if it's relevant in our team, or is it feasible with the situation and condition that we have right now. And how can we do that is, the simplest way is to create a mood board ideas, that so it would solve the kind of solve the problem. So then we can try to align our visions.
If we have like different kinds of perspective in creative expression, we can also like actually make a mood board to actually try to find something to join together, so that we can actually perform what all three of us want together, like as, and we have elements of each of us in the creative side itself. And but of course you would definitely maintain with the current team and so on.
I think that'll be all from us. I think we can open it to the floor. Thank you.
All right, thank you, office bearers. So, seeing as there's no online questions, are there any questions from the floor? Okay, seeing as there's no questions from the floor, I think we can conclude the session. So I think before we close, maybe I'll pass it back to candidates for your closing remarks.
Okay, so Monga's identity has always been rooted in a more expression way. So as we move forward, we hope to protect the creative identity and keeping the truth as well at the core, while aligning with creativity and journalism. So we see them as a partner more than like an opposite.
And we believe Monga is more than just departments. It's a team of passionate individuals who create magic together. By blending writing, design, and media, we can build a documentation and projects that's not only appealing and memorable, but also meaningful. If given this role, we would dedicate ourselves to break walls between departments, encouraging collaboration and helping everyone grow together.
And if we are elected, we hope to create more space for students' voices to be heard. Especially, we want to make the program as a more emotional segment. We want to make our programs a more heartfelt segment for manga, where stories are told sincerely and reflect real student experiences. Because when people speak from the heart, the message becomes more than content, it becomes a connection. Through this approach, we aim for manga to be not only creative, but deeply a human space, where honesty, empathy, and storytelling come together while still aligning in journalism sense. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, candidates, and thank you, office bearers. So for all those who are watching online or physical, here are some important dates to take note. The voting period will take place between the 13th of October to the 17th of October, and the vote will take place via the official e-voting platform. More information is to come, so do follow us on MUSA official Instagram and also you can watch the rest of the debates on the official MUSA YouTube channel. So with that, I think we conclude the editors functioning body debate. And thank you for joining us and have a great evening.